Kia ora, and welcome to the August Jodcast from Space Place at Carter Observatory in Wellington, New Zealand. Mercury finishes its best evening appearance of the year this month. At the beginning of August it sits low in the west after dark, just above Regulus, the brightest star in Leo, setting around 7:45. By mid-month it will disappear from view, lost in the evening twilight as it heads back towards the sun in our skies. Jupiter is a little further north, midway up our northwestern skies. It is slowly moving below and towards the right of Spica over the course of the month. Both are quickly dropping down our evening skies, with Jupiter setting at around 11 p.m. at the beginning of August, but by around 9:30 p.m. at the end. Further around still, Saturn is high in the northeast after dark, with Antares above and to the left, and remains in our sky for most of the night. A waxing gibbous moon passes close to Saturn on the 3rd and 31st of the month, whilst on the evening of the 25th, a thin 3-day-old crescent moon will sit just below Jupiter. It's a busy time for the moon this month. If you're an early riser, look out for a partial lunar eclipse on the morning of the 8th of August. Maximum eclipse is at 6:20 a.m, when just under a quarter of the moon's disk will be in the shadow or umbra of the Earth. The rest of the moon will be in the penumbra or part shadow, and therefore appear dimmer than normal. From Wellington the moon sets in the west at 7:14 a.m, a few minutes before the end of the umbral phase. On the 22nd of August the moon will pass directly between the Earth and the Sun, causing a total solar eclipse. The eclipse path will run across the United States, but unfortunately no part of it will be visible from New Zealand. The next total solar eclipse visible from our shores won't be until July 2028. Last month we looked at some of the amazing objects in Scorpius and Sagittarius towards the centre of the Milky Way. This month we'll move along a little from our galaxy's bright centre to where it passes overhead through Centaurus, the Southern Cross, and the constellations of Carina, Vela and Puppis that make up the great ship Argo Navis. Crux, the Southern Cross, lies on its side after sunset in the southwestern sky, with a diamond cross and false cross below. Above Crux are Alpha and Beta Centauri, the brightest stars in the constellation of Centaurus. Known as the pointers, they guide our eye to Gamma Crucis, the star at the top of Crux, and help us to identify the true Southern Cross. To the right of the pointers, and just outside the main band of the Milky Way, is a spectacular globular cluster Omega Centauri. This is by far the largest and brightest globular cluster in the Milky Way, appearing as a fuzzy star to the naked eye. With binoculars it is an even more stunning sight, spanning almost a full degree of the sky, twice the diameter of the full moon, whilst a small telescope will show a shimmering ball of stars, with many individual stars visible towards the outskirts. Close to Beta Crucis in the Southern Cross is a different type of star cluster. NGC 4755, also known as the Jewel Box, is an open cluster around 6,500 light-years away. It is rich and bright, with the stars showing an array of different colours, highlighted by an orange-red supergiant. At magnitude 4.2, the Jewel Box can easily be seen with the naked eye. It is dominated by an A-shaped asterism of bright stars, which is observable with binoculars, whilst even a small telescope will reveal a stunning sight. The name the Jewel Box comes from Sir John Herschel's vivid description of the cluster as a casket of variously coloured precious stones. The colours of these stars tell us how hot they are. The red stars are the coolest, with temperatures around 3,000 Kelvin. Yellow stars like our Sun are closer to 6,000 Kelvin, whilst the hottest, bluest stars reach temperatures of 30,000 Kelvin or more. In order to get this hot, these stars have to use a huge amount of fuel very quickly, so they don't live very long. They live fast and they die young. The most massive live for just a few million years. The fact that NGC 4755 still contains a number of these hot blue stars tells us that it is relatively young. In fact, it is one of the youngest star clusters known, with an estimated age of just 14 million years. Just to the left is a dark patch known as the Coalsack Nebula. This is a huge cloud of interstellar dust and gas some 700 light-years away. It is so thick and dense that it obscures the light from more distant stars, appearing as a darkened area against the bright backdrop of the Milky Way. Aboriginal astronomers have observed the Coalsack for at least 40,000 years, whilst to Maori here in New Zealand it is known as Te Patiki, or the Flounder. Below the coal sack, at the tip of the Diamond Cross asterism in Carina, is the Theta Carina Cluster, or IC2602, an open cluster containing around 60 individual stars. At magnitude 1.9, it is the third brightest open cluster in the sky, and is often known as the Southern Pleiades, although it is still much fainter than its northern counterpart. The cluster spans around 50 arc-minutes, around 1.5 full moon diameters, so it is best viewed with binoculars or a low-powered telescope, giving a wide field of view. Around 4 degrees to the right of Theta Carinae is the famous NGC 3372, the E2 Carina Nebula, a huge cloud of glowing gas estimated to be around 7,500 light-years away. At 4 times the size of the Orion Nebula, it is one of the largest nebulae of its type in our skies. With the naked eye, you'll be able to pick out the brightest central areas, but with binoculars you should be able to see Eta Carinae itself as a golden star within the nebula. Eta Carinae is actually a system of at least 2 stars, which combined are around 5 million times more luminous than our Sun. The largest has around 90 times the Sun's mass, and is so bright that the radiation pressure it produces is almost too strong for the gravity holding it together, causing a constant stream of material out into space. In the morning skies, Venus is now rising around 5 a.m. The moon will pass nearby on the 19th, sitting just above Venus in the northeast at sunrise. The two will move towards the north by mid-morning, providing a perfect opportunity to try and spot Venus in the daylight, with Venus sat just to the right of a thin, waning crescent moon. Wishing you clear skies from the team here at Space Place at Carter Observatory.